Welcome to the Art of Healing, First Step for Survivors. This is our 21st episode of Imagine That. And January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So everybody on the show has been speaking about that. Imagine That is a show dedicated to exploring the power of creativity and collaboration. Here we celebrate artists, thinkers, and visionaries who challenge norms and enrich our world. We also highlight co-creativity, the synergy of teamwork that enhances individual talents and drives progress across various fields. Each episode hosts a change maker in our community. Imagine That reveals how co-creativity and collaboration shape our future and improve our present. So thank you for tuning in as we unlock our imagination and discover the endless possibilities of creating together. I'm your host, Rosalia Bañuelos, and my co-creator today is Lucresia Montez. You want to say hi real quick? Is there anybody that you're shouting out to?
Everybody at the clinic, San Jose Clinic, and the support that they're giving me, and my friends and family.
Yay. Thanks for listening. And thank you, anybody that's on LinkedIn. We're trying LinkedIn Live. Anybody on Instagram. Anybody on the All Real Radio app and the website. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. I'll introduce Lucresia. So Lucresia Montez is a social worker. And she was a recipient of the 2023 FBI Federal Bureau of Investigation Director Community Leadership Award, representing Houston and the Gulf Coast area for her work with survivors of human trafficking. Lucresia received a Bachelor's of Science in 2004 with a major in psychology from the University of Houston downtown, and a Master's in social work in 2006 from the University of Houston Central. As a graduate of the 2023 FBI Citizens Academy, Lucresia is a committed social worker / human trafficking coordinator at San Jose Clinic, where she delivers compassionate and essential healthcare services to individuals facing barriers to quality medical care access. With nearly 2 decades of experience in healthcare management, therapeutic intervention, recruitment, program management, and community outreach, Lucresia strives to bring improvement and awareness to the Houston region and its underserved community. At San Jose Clinic, Lucresia plays a pivotal role in ensuring that uninsured survivors of human trafficking have access to vital medical, dental, mental health, and vision services. In addition to her other responsibilities, Lucresia serves on the United Against Human Trafficking Coalition as a survival committee service representative and presents in conferences raising awareness of human trafficking and its impacts on the community. And a quote from Lucresia, I love it, I have to share it. It's, "The greatness of a community can only be measured by the compassion of its members. Too often we choose to make a living by what we receive, when in reality, we can only make a life by what we give." Thank you for that quote. I was
You're welcome.
You're making me cry, girl. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes.
Whatever chance we get to inform and educate the public, I mean, we're all for it.
Yes. And so I just met you in the beginning of this year. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad I did. And I just appreciate that you are you're like the cherry on top for the end of our human trafficking awareness, because this is our last weekend talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the last weekend of.
Oh, it is. It's the last
of
weekend
January.
of January already. Yes.
February is next week. So thank you. I think it's a great way to end this month, and I am really looking forward to this conversation. So how we break up our show is we ask you a little bit about how you grew up and what you used to do, how you used to play when you were younger, because Imagine That is part of Creatopia Inc., which is my startup, and we talk a lot about the importance of safe spaces and being able to play and being able to be creative. So that's what we talk about, how you used to play when you were younger, in case you were wondering, because they are like random questions, but that is why. So how important was play for you growing up?
Play was very important. I come from a big family. We didn't have much, so creativity was at the top of our list. I have 5 siblings, so there was 6 of us total. Not very many resources. So we were outside from morning till when the lamps came on the street lights came on.
Right.
That's when we had to come back inside. So, I mean, from, making mud pies when it was raining to, making up our own games, red light, green light, hide and seek, you name it, we did it. But it was all outside, climbing trees, building stuff that we should not have been building.
Like what? What's something you remember?
Putting things together, like finding pieces of wood and thinking we were carpenters and
I know.
getting a hold of nails and hammers and it just trying to build forts. Like, yeah, I mean, things we shouldn't have been doing, but
it was so fun.
Yes.
I'm the youngest of 9 and I have 5 brothers. So same, like we played a lot. We played a lot outside and everybody that we've talked to, it's been a lot of outside, very imaginative play, very like in nature. There was somebody that grew up here in Houston and he would like play in the bayou a lot growing up. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town outside of Corpus.
Okay.
So, it was very small. So like literally there was a cotton field across the street from our house.
Oh, wow.
So, we were very imaginative. I mean, you named it. I think my sister jumped off the roof one time thinking she was Superman onto a mattress. So
The couple siblings
things we shouldn't have done that we did. But we were very creative. Wrestling was very popular. Throw the mattress out. And of course we have brothers. So,
right. You have to learn
we had to learn how to fight. So, I mean, things were crazy, but I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What was your favorite book?
My favorite book, and maybe this is probably why I was a social worker, was A Child Called It. I have no idea why I read books that deal with abuse or trauma or trafficking. A Child Called It is actually an autobiography by Dave Peltzer, and it talks about the horrific child abuse that he went through as a child. And he has a series. I think it's like he has one that I think after that it's called The Lost Boy, and then it's another one. So he takes it from when he was a child and went through the abuse to when he went into the foster care system. But I mean, it was horrific. How he was forced to drink ammonia, how he was kicked in the stomach, how he was starved, how he was forced to eat his own vomit. You're probably thinking, why would she read that? I think
when you were young, you were reading
I was young, and I think I read it because it made me realize that in the worst of the worst conditions that you can think of, people succumb. People,
resilient.
They're so resilient, and they achieve lifelong goals. So I figured, what's my excuse? Like, I can't complain. I can't state that, I was beaten or tortured or anything. So it kind of gave me a little oomph to push myself, regardless of the obstacles that were kind of thrown before me. Because it was in black and white. People do survive. Our past does not define us, so.
How did you find the book, or how did the book find you?
I used to always read. I was an avid reader once, so I was always above my grade level. And one of my teachers actually, she actually,
cool. I love teachers.
Had me, look into it because she saw the type of stories that I would like to read, and she's like, "Are you sure? Are your parents going to be okay with that?" I was like,
yeah, that'd be
yes, fun. I'm just interested, and so. She recommended it, and it was amazing. I ended up reading, I think it was like 3 books that he had out.
Oh, cool. I should read them.
But yes.
That sounds good. Well, thank you for sharing. Can you share the story behind what led you to where you are now and how you became involved in the fight against human trafficking?
I think we all have a past. And I think through my own trials and tribulations, and being able to overcome obstacles that I had in my past, I always had someone that was there to kind of guide me, understand me, push me, regardless of how low I thought I was, there was always like this guardian angel that
Right?
would pop up,
I
right?
know,
You
like,
know,
come out of nowhere.
yeah, whether it was a professor, whether it was a counselor,
Yeah.
you know, whether, you know, it was my advisor at college, there was always somebody. So I was like, you know what? I was like, after all that I've been through, because my life was not easy. After all that I've been through, I want to help people. And I remember my advisor telling me, she's like, well, sweetie, there's not much money in that.
I know, social work.
She's
Shout out
like,
to social work.
shout out to social work. She's like, there's not much money in that. She goes, you've got to have a lot of compassion. I was like, I think I have that. I think I have that. Like, I'm ready, you know? Because I was always helping everyone else, even if I was barely making it, you know? So she's like, okay, you know? So she put me on the path to it. And as I became a social worker, I started off working with the severely physically and sexually abused children. My concentration was children and families. In working with the severely physically and sexually abused, trafficking were a few of my cases that were starting to pop up, and it was starting to become a little more consistent. So as I started getting into the realm of that, and at one point I was a contractor with the Office of Refugee and Resettlement, saw it a little bit more. I was like, well, you know what? This is the population I want to concentrate on. Because I saw a lot of systematic things that were beyond the victim's controls. I saw victims slipping through the crack. Our recidivism rate is very high. And I'm like, I need to be that one person. I need to be that light for that person. Even if it's just one, Rosalia, that I help, you know, through my lifetime, even if it's that one, I'll be okay with it. I understand I can't change the world. May not be able to help the world. But even if I have one that I'm able to keep from having to go back into the streets, I think I'll be good.
So you've been at San Jose for 4 years?
Yes.
How did you end up there? And you say if you just help one, ever since you've been there, there's been how many cases?
We have currently 569.
So I'm sure you've touched more than one.
Yes.
I
surpassed.
love social workers, and I am one myself. And a lot of people that have been on the show that are just doing it, like you're just doing it. A lot of people that like, and it's and so nobody. I mean, you were interviewed and things like that, but you don't give yourself enough credit for what you do, and it's not that, like, it's not about being arrogant or anything, but shout out to the work that you have done while you've been there for 4 years.
Thank you.
And just how you've shared, like, you gave me the tour. I was at the clinic, y'all. I went to the San Jose clinic, and Lucresia gave me a tour, and the passion with which you speak about what you're doing. I don't think you see it because you're just doing it, but thank you for what you've been doing.
You're so welcome.
Yeah.
And yes, it's what I love to do. You know, I'm there to be the voice that, you know, maybe my victim's not ready to be at the moment. You know, I'm there to advocate for what services that they need at the time. How can I help them surpass this moment? Like, somebody was there to help me surpass mine.
Right.
So, like, what can I do? You know, how can I help? You know, and we do provide medical services at the clinic, but, you know, there's also other barriers that have come forward. You know, like sometimes my victims are staying in shelters, and, you know, sometimes when you go to the doctor, it's not just an in and out thing. You know, sometimes it's an all day thing, and they'll come to my office afterwards and they'll be like, Miss Montez, I missed lunch at the shelter. Like, shelters don't hold plates for you when you go back, unfortunately, you know? And I mean, they do what they can, props to them. So when I saw, you know, or they couldn't get to the clinic because Metro wasn't in their area. So how do I get the care that I need if I can't even get there?
Right.
So I would speak to my management. I would push, you know, implement things that I knew would help them. We would get, for example, grants for Uber transportation, grants for Metro cards, grants for food cards for those times that they were at the clinic all day and they did miss maybe lunch, or they are going to miss dinner. We had a donor give. She bought, like, I want to say, like, almost $1,500 worth of McDonald's and Chick-fil-A cards. so I can hand out to these clients. So at least I know something's in their tummy, because nobody needs to go to bed hungry, regardless of the situation you're in, so little things like that. So that way there aren't any barriers to their healthcare. So that way I know they'll continue coming.
This isn't the question. Sorry for interrupting. This isn't the question that we prepared for, but how is it grants that keep the San Jose Clinic going?
Yes, grants
or sponsorships and things like that.
Grants and private donors, donations. Our clinic is ran. Our physicians are actually all volunteers. Mm-hmm. None of our physicians are paid staff. It's amazing. So a lot of them have their own practices, and they come and they volunteer. So many hours a week, to see our clients and to see our patients. Mm-hmm. And it's not just your regular physicians or your regular nurse practitioners. We have specialties, we have ENTs, we have a cardiologist, we have a gynecologist, we have dental, and even dental, there's specialties in there that come and volunteer, so there's an array of specialties and angels that come and help us serve our population every day.
That's amazing. I love community.
Yes.
What are some key initiatives that San Jose Clinic is currently working on right now?
Our key initiatives we realize that medical and dental are high needs for survivors of human trafficking. Mm-hmm. Our dental especially. So some of our key initiatives we're focusing on raising more funds for our dental. Unfortunately, survivors of human trafficking, when they are in the life, they're not wanting or willing to do the work. So often they're forced, whether that's being beaten or drug induced, malnourished. And it has a lot to do with their teeth. So a lot of times when they come in, for example, I had a 26-year-old that needed 18 extractions. At 26.
Oh, wow.
And then when we take out those extractions, well, now how do we help her eat? Mm-hmm. She don't have no more teeth, So it's being able to find the funding that'll help cover whether it's going to be dentures or implants or whatever we'd be able to do to kind of help that survivor so she can eat again. Right. Because we just took out all those extractions. So one of the key initiatives that we'll be focusing on is, helping raise that dental funds and maintaining our medical funds, because they're coming in and they're needing all types of testing done, labs. And we also provide their medications. We have a pharmacy there also. Right. So the funds that come through, whether it's through community block grants or private donors, anything and everything helps. They're getting medical services, they're getting pharmacy, they're getting mental health. We have counseling, we have substance abuse counseling, we have access to medical specialties, along with dental. So, there's several things that they can get within the clinic as kind of like a one-stop shop to kind of help them. But it's just the key initiatives is making sure that funding is continuously going through, so our survivors for our survivors of human trafficking, there is no cost, because our survivors of human trafficking that are going in are uninsured and have nowhere else to go. So in order to keep that at no cost to them, so they can be able to get the services that they need while they're stabilizing and working on themselves, we want to be able to keep that at no cost. So it's just the continued need to raise the funds to keep the program going.
What have been like obviously fundraising is always a challenge. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like when you're fundraising and communicating to people to help, what are like, how do you say it? Just what have been like challenges that people have expressed as to why they won't help you, or as to why they won't give you funding, or as to why they won't give the clinic funding?
I don't think we've really had any that maybe we didn't qualify for maybe some grants. San Jose Clinic is part of the Archdiocese, so there is a religion entity tied to it. Okay. But when it comes to survivors, very creative to make sure that they get what they need, and it's within the realm of our abilities, the realm of our possibilities in regards to the clinic. And if it's not, I have a huge collaboration with, NGOs and organizations that are willing to also serve the needs of my survivors, and it's being able to have that collaboration and that friendship to be able to say, hey, I can't do this, but I know you have this program, can you help me out, or I know you have this coming up, could my client be a part of it?
Right.
So it's being able to, have that constant communication and have that constant community, collaboration to be able to make sure that these clients are being met, if not in our clinic, with one of our collaborators, know. And for the grants that we may not qualify for, we do have individual donors that'll step up, or, physicians that may not be able to give their time, but they're like, hey, I can help out with so much, know. But we even have people that be like, I may not be able to donate, but I can volunteer, So we do have a volunteer program also, so people are more than willing to volunteer through our clinic as well.
Okay. Is there like follow-ups after people have come through the clinic, like after survivors go through the clinic? Is there any sort of, there's no case management
there's not as much case management, but of a lot of the majority of our clients actually have case managers already assigned, whether that be through other collaborations or organizations such as YMCA or Redeemed, or other organizations like that, Elijah, so they'll have their own case managers. Now if they don't and they've already gotten out, usually we've already built that rapport with our clients when they come in, that they're so comfortable. A lot of them know me by name and my number. So
yeah, I imagine you are the case manager.
Pretty much. I do that too. So, if they no longer have one assigned to them and they need something, for example, I had a client over the storm, the freeze. She's in a shelter and she no longer has a case manager assigned, and she was working on her credit that, her trafficker, charged all these things. And so she was working on that. And so she was needing a letter and stuff. And so our organization is part of that to where we can help them. And nice. So, I connected her with the letter and I was able to speak to the agency. So they know they can still come to me. And if I can help them, I have no problem. But yeah, there's that rapport is built within the clinic. There's even certain medical assistants that they'll even ask for. They're like, oh, she was so sweet to me, can you tell her I said hi? Or, sometimes when I see them, or like when I saw them at that event that I saw you at, the Dining with a Purpose, they'll ask for, ask how some of my physicians are doing, or how's Dr. So-and-so, or how's this medical assistant doing, because there's already that rapport built. So they have no problem coming by the clinic afterwards.
Oh, that's so great.
I think that's the sweet thing about it. We get to see the other side.
Yeah. Is there any, we're going to take a break in a little bit. Is there any story, like anybody that, I'm not asking you to pick a favorite, but just any story that you were like, that brought you to tears with how much they recovered, or just like any connection that you've made that has been memorable? I'm sure a lot of them. But.
Yeah, I think I've had quite a few. I have quite a few, I like to call them warriors, because they didn't let anything stop them. They didn't go back into life, even when the times were the hardest of the hard, And one in particular, she was trafficked for over 10 years, was able to get on housing, was able to get a GED, receive medical services through the clinic. And she's still paycheck to paycheck, but she's like, I'm not done yet. I'm going to further my education. Yay. So I think those things are the best, because even when the times got hard and that paycheck was barely helping her make ends meet, she didn't fall back into the life. She's like, I'm not done. Yeah. So I think those stories and the visits that they make to the clinic, or they can even see me on the streets and they'll scream my name. Or I think one time I was at a McDonald's and one of my clients actually works there, and she just kind of like embraced me. And I think that those are the things that remind me of why I do what I do. Right.
It's things that you think are little things, but make all the difference. Yeah. To little things. Okay. So our first song that we're going to share is Oye Mi Amor by Mana. We're going to take a break and then we'll be back and we'll talk more about the San Jose Clinic and future plans. But tell me a little bit about the song and why you like. I also love Mana.
I don't know. I've loved them, and honestly, I've been infatuated with the drummer for years.
It's really just the drummer that keeps you coming back.
The drummer, but and I've loved them for years, and it's just one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, here's Oye Mi Amor by Mana. And we're back to the 21st episode of Imagine That. We are here with Lucresia Montez from the San Jose Clinic discussing the art of healing, first steps for survivors. And Lucrecia shared a little bit about just how she grew up and how play was important for her growing up and how she ended up at the San Jose Clinic and stepping into human trafficking. Again, January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, so everybody on the show has been discussing human trafficking in one way or another, and we are very grateful. So before we took a break, you were just sharing, a lot of details of the clinic itself and about people that you've met and survivors you've run into. I wanted to ask with our new administration and just, there's people that I know in my life that are afraid of being deported because they're undocumented. And I imagine people that come to the San Jose Clinic may be in that population. So I'm just wondering how it has affected anybody there or even the staff, how they're reacting to it. I'm just interested in seeing if it's affecting you.
We're just as nervous as anybody out there. We do serve domestic and international. We serve both, especially when it comes to survivors of human trafficking. I've had some of my clients that have reached out, kind of scared, and wanting to know what's going to happen or can they still make their appointments. Yes, we tell them to continue to come to our appointments. It's still a safe place. I think the good thing about the clinic is since we're a medical clinic, we still have that HIPAA that can protect us from revealing any information. So that's also one thing that we're grateful for. But
shout out to HIPAA.
Shout out to HIPAA. Y'all thought those were long, tedious forms that were unnecessary. Now they're necessary.
Now everyone's like, thank you.
Make sure they're all signed and updated.
Social workers out there.
Yes. But yes, we're just as worried as anybody else here in regards to, what's going to happen, especially my international survivors. But we're going to take it day by day, and pray that everything is well. In regards to funding, we really don't receive federal funding, so we don't see any changes in that aspects. We rely a lot on our individual donors and foundations and community block grants, and they don't stipulate, that it has to be domestic. So that also helps our clinic.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you would like to share about the clinic or trafficking right now? Anything about trafficking that our audience might not be aware of?
I think audience, I need them to be educated and informed. And educate somebody else that may not be educated. I think the more people that know that it exists, it's in our backyard, we are the hub, it's not going to change. It's a second global trade behind drugs.
Yeah.
So the demand is supply and demand. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's starting to affect our younger ones a lot more. And I just need them to educate your kids. I know sometimes before it may have been taboo to just discuss, or maybe those are things you don't want to be talking to your kids about. It needs to be discussed now. Social media needs to be discussed. Different platforms need to be discussed. Education needs to be at the forefront. Prevention needs to be at the forefront. it has to, we have to innovate. We have to
Does the
innovate.
San Jose Clinic do any workshops or anything? Because, you know, I have parents around me that after hearing just this month, right, because we've been talking about trafficking the whole month, they're wondering how they bring it up to their kids.
Yeah. And then
and I think just workshops and education,
just workshops and
education
education,
awareness, you know?
yes. And then we also, you know, and I also work with different, or like I said, we have a huge collaboration of partners that we work with. And I know Crime Stoppers has some great actually they'll do like webinars or seminars for parents. They talk about apps and everything. So I usually refer a lot of my parents to them, so they can be more educated and more informed on what's going on, and how to move or how to get with technology. You know, our parents, some of our parents are kind of old fashioned.
Yeah.
So how can they modernize themselves to, you know, be up with technology so they're aware of what their kids are doing, or how to get into different platforms, or what platforms should they look out for, or,
right,
you know, basic things like that. We don't supply those types of, you know, courses yet at San Jose, because that would probably fall on me.
One more thing. Hey, interns, you know,
let my department grow, and I'm pretty sure we would love to bring it. But I mean, anybody has any questions, you know, my email, I mean, you're more than welcome to, you know, give out my email, and I can lead people to the right place where they can get what they need.
Cool. Well, looking forward to that.
Yes.
That'd be good. The library does a lot of family and community, like workshops as well. And I'm just often surprised at how much it's not spoken about in like the schools or in the libraries or in like common spaces. When I was getting my master's in 2022, I took a human trafficking class actually, and I looked at what the city was doing to like prevent it in schools. And there's like a trafficking toolkit that you download, and the schools are supposed to share with the students, but you download the toolkit and it doesn't open.
Yeah. And it's very hard because it's such a taboo subject, you know, and it's like, you know, are the parents going to give consent? Are they okay with this, you know? And
right.
I mean, coming from a social worker to any parents that are listening, yes, educate your kids.
Yeah.
Just because you educate your kids does not mean they're going to go out and do it.
Right.
But they need to know.
Right.
They need to understand what's out there.
Yeah. And
the dangers that it can cause if they're not aware in the long run.
Yeah, with my daughter, I mean, I have a daughter and she's 11, and I mean, having a child is having a child, but I think there is a difference in having a girl. And for her, I've just really focused on making her very aware of herself. Yes. And very aware of her surroundings, and very aware of like what's safe behavior as opposed to like unsafe, like adult interaction behavior. Yes. Just those simple, but I think, you know, just having those simple conversations go such a long way, but parents just don't know where to even start. You know, and it's hard. As a parent, I completely understand. I have 3 girls myself. Right.
You know, and it's kind of hard. But if you question the subject, or if you by any chance, you know, kind of feel uncomfortable discussing the subject, the kids pick it up. The kids know. Yeah. You know, and then they're going to kind of like shut down. Like, maybe that's something I shouldn't ask. You know, mom's already uncomfortable. So be open. Tell them. Ask questions. You know, what is it that you like to know? I mean, nothing's bad. You know, nothing, you know, as long as you're wanting to be educated, let me know what's going on. And I think that's the hard part of a parent, is being able to be that comfortable, to be that open.
Right.
To discuss.
Right. So what conversations do you as a parent need to have? Right. What conversations do you need to have before you can have this conversation with your child? With your kid. Like, what do you need to process emotionally? And like I was having a conversation with a friend, and he almost threw up. Yeah. Just like me telling him just some basic stories that I've heard recently. Not even like anything that's like I mean, I'm sure you have stories that are like, right?
Do I have stories?
That will keep people awake for
Yes.
a long time. And yeah, how do you handle that conversation with yourself before you can have it with anybody else, especially your child?
Especially your child. And as a parent, we've got to take care of ourselves too, you know, because if you don't, you know, it's just like on the airplane, you know, you put the mask on yourself before on your child. You've got to take care of yourself before you can take care of your child. So be comfortable, you know, with what you're saying and the topic before, you know, you decide to be open with the child about it. But it is a topic that needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
And without it being censored or limited.
And without it, what?
Without it being censored or limited, unfortunately, because you really can't censor trafficking.
Right. Right. You know, my daughter's second grade teacher, there was a whole FBI investigation on him, and they arrested him at school. That was second grade music instructor who like also had private classes at his home, and like they like found pictures and all these, and so I had to like tell her.
Yes.
In second grade.
In second grade, yes. Yes. There are ways that we can educate. And we need to innovate. You know, the recidivism rate is so high still. I mean, it's at what, 70-something% for people coming out of the life. You know, we need to innovate. What can we do to change? Our methods are not working. We need to change it, you know. When they're coming out, yes, we have hotlines 24/7 that they can call. But where do we take them? The only thing that we have available are domestic violence shelters, you know. A domestic violence person and a human trafficking person are completely different, you know. And they're both yet victims.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be able to have shelters that can have our human trafficking victims, you know, on their own, and our domestic violence. Because there's different parts of trauma that need to be addressed with the populations.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
And I think if we're able to address them separately, I think they'd get a lot further. But I mean, if we have homeless shelters and we have domestic violence shelters, we need to have trafficking shelters. We are Houston. This is our hub. You know, we need to have some place for them to go to get back on their feet.
And not just for how long do shelters allow you to stay?
Depends. Some shelters are 30 days, you know, some are a week. Some can go into transitional living shelters, which can be 3 to 6 months, you know, so there's an array of time that they can be. But I think we just need something that's a little more permanent to kind of be able to get them, you know, to successfully restabilize into our society, you know. Because let me tell you, the young ladies and men that I know and that I work with as survivors, there's some young hustlers. They can hustle.
Yeah, they're crafty.
they can turn $1 into 20. You know, they just need to be given the opportunity.
And then like you were saying, the ability to stabilize. You know, like even just a normal like stable person. If you go through something like losing your job or any sort of trauma, how long does it take you to get back on your feet?
Yeah.
If you don't have if you can't just move in with your parents, or if you can't just move in with a family member or somebody you trust or somebody that's not going to take advantage of your vulnerabilities, how long does it take?
How long does it take? You know, and then, you know, hopefully those shelters will integrate, you know, trauma, you know, a trauma education and counseling and case management, you know, to kind of help them restabilize into our society. But I'm hoping if we're able to, you know, innovate and, you know, create and be creative with what we can do within our city, we can tackle this problem, you know.
What do you imagine? What could you imagine creatively?
In the world of utopia, that everything's perfect.
Yes. If you had a magic wand.
If I had a magic wand, I would be using one of these commercial buildings that we have in downtown and turn it into a living quarters for survivors of trafficking. And in the same building, be able to access mental health, be able to access case management, be able to access job readiness skills, be able to access Dress for Success, you know, employment, if it's a one-stop shop, it's easy for them to be able to get back. If they're going upstairs, to live like a regular person, eat, sleep, whatever, and then they're going downstairs, oh, I got to take my computer classes, oh, I got to meet my case manager.
Yeah. It'd be amazing.
It would be amazing if I had millions of dollars. So if any developers are out there, you're more than welcome to contact me.
And so I have a vision of that, but also add in physical movement, so like dance classes, yoga classes.
And that is very therapeutic.
Into spas. Like, I love hot tubs and saunas and like recreation, like actual rest, like actual like giving your body a rest.
Yes.
And what that does to healing. Yeah.
Music, drumming. Very therapeutic for clients that unfortunately they're denied because we can barely provide them the basics. We can barely provide them medical, dental, and medication, much less a stable home.
Right.
So, yes, in my perfect world, they'd be able to take a Pilates class and a computer class.
Right. You can like pick your schedule based on like
you'd be able to pick
your career schedule that you determined based on like this assessment that somebody did with you, and they just hold like they're with you, and you have mentors, and if you want to set up a business, we can help you set up a business. And
yes, and it's amazing because a lot of these clients, when they go through and you help them and you're kind of holding their hand as they're coming into the world again, they're so grateful and appreciative. They want to come back and give. They want to come back and help. And, in my perfect world, it would even be led by survivors themselves. Right. Who've gone through it, who knows what they're going through, who can give them that ambition and drive, who can, speak to them when they're at their lowest and think that they can't go any further. Unfortunately, in my perfect world, we'd be able to eradicate the problem, but that would need to happen with changes in laws. So supply and demand wouldn't be met.
Right.
But being able to start with a place for them to go is a huge step, and a safe place, to where they don't feel, oh, I'm going to be kicked out in 22 days. I can't do nothing in 20. Well, what can you do in 22 days?
Seriously.
I mean, or 30
you're
days.
already worrying about what you're going to do in
exactly
like day 10. Especially if you have if you're a mom and you have kids. And
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. The magic, like a magic wand.
Wand.
Can we get a magic wand? What upcoming projects or campaigns are you most excited about? And how do they incorporate creativity? Well,
there was several that went on for Human Trafficking Awareness Month that was, led on by the Office of Victims of Crime through, and then Homeland Security and, all these different organizations that work within our community to spread the awareness of human trafficking. But, San Jose Clinic now has billboards, and of course they're basic billboards that talk about our medical services. But I think the fact that our billboards for people to be aware that there is a clinic that can help them, there's a clinic that they can come to. And it's not only for survivors of human trafficking. We take those that are uninsured or underinsured, and they can, do sliding scale through an eligibility process. So we take clients within the community that also can't afford or have access to quality health care. So the fact that, that information is out there, so we're no longer the hidden secret of Houston. People know who we are and where they can come and get help. But I'm excited for, a lot of our partners who are also working within the trafficking realm, the Faith Collaborative, and they're Dying with a Purpose, and inviting some of my survivors, to a beautiful dinner. They're planning on doing that on a monthly basis, and the education that they give them as well, the opportunities, No Trafficking Zone, Jacqueline, who so generously helped donate, through her donors, their body bags to all our clients, you know. So they're not carrying these little personal hygiene bags that they used to get. They actually got a nice bag to carry, you know, especially some of those clients are still in different shelters, you know. So it's nice to have something that's yours. That's not just like plastic, and, you know, something that's more personal and sporty and nice, that they can call their own to carry, you know,
they were so
their
happy.
things. Yes, they were so excited. So a shout out to all those collaborators that work with me daily to make sure that our survivors' needs are met.
Yeah.
I couldn't even list them all, but thank you.
Yeah, it's as hard and as heavy as this space is. It really is beautiful to see how so many just dedicated people in Houston have committed for a while to fight the fight, you know, and
to fight the fight.
And it's getting louder, I think, but I think there's also a lot of like people not working together, and a lot of like I don't know. I'm still just seeing what the space is. I feel like a lot of things changed after COVID as well, just with organizations that were around and people having to go digital, and I mean, people probably having to close. So just seeing who's still out there and who's doing what. But this month it's been great to see who's doing, like, people that are active and what they're doing, and having met survivors. Yeah. I think beyond anything, having been able to sit next to a mom who was trafficked with her children, and her children are 4 and 8, like, just being able to share space with her, you know, it.
And they have such a different aspect on life, and whereas one who hasn't been through that would be like, oh my God, I wouldn't be able to go on,
right?
And yet they have so many goals in place, and they're like, this is not stopping me.
I'm like, I haven't even started.
Like, I'm not done. I haven't started. I've got a story to tell, and I'm gonna shout it if nobody listens. You know, it's just being able to have that attitude, you know. So there are some days I go into work and I'm just like, like, I don't think I can do today. Or, you know, what if, you know, I don't even think I'm helping. Look at all the numbers, you know, like, I mean, yes, I've helped this many, but the numbers are so high, you know. Yeah. And then I end up with an intake that day, and I hear their story and the horrific things that they had to go through. And when they walk out, I literally look up and I'm like, I am so sorry. Lesson learned.
You are an angel.
I will never be ungrateful again.
You were talking about those angels that show up in your life. You're an angel in these people's lives. You are. Thank you. Okay, next question. We're almost done. How do you envision the continued role of technology in our fight? Something that I think about a lot, especially because we are a tech startup, essentially, is how technology. If somebody's sexualized before their prefrontal cortex starts developing, and that could be like they watch something or they're touched or something happens, the prefrontal cortex won't fully develop, and it actually decays. Yeah. And the prefrontal cortex, that's your decision making, your goal setting, it's your personality. It's your executive functions. So when I saw that, and when I saw how pervasive sexualized media is, and especially for our kids, and especially for like everybody, you know, because you talk about survivors, right? And say you have survivors, they go through our utopia, what do we want to call it? Reintegration center.
Yeah, reintegration.
They go through the center. But then you go back into the world, and even just trying to find somebody to date that isn't some sort of abusive or doesn't like display some similar quality. Like I've dated people that like sound like traffickers. Like the way in which they manipulate your mind, the way in which they like try to get you addicted to things, and like just the way that they mess with you. It's like so I want to use technology to help.
I think technology, if we get ahead of it, we can use it to our advantage. But that's the thing, you know, the people that have access and that are able to do this, is just being able to connect with them, being like, hey, this is a problem that we have. How do we get ahead of it? Because traffickers are smart. They move in secrecy, right? And, you may think that they're just hustling money off the street, but they're a whiz with that laptop that you have before you, and they know how to get from the black market to posting a person on there to everything. But if we can switch it on them, if we can use, AIs came out. If we can use AI, build algorithms to connect patterns, suspicious patterns, do image recognition. When we have a child that's missing, or a child, an Amber Alert, or someone that we feel that they have forced into the life, being able to use those algorithms to run it on the dark web, and see if it catches that facial recognition. See if we can see if we can save that child.
Yeah.
Satellites. I mean, we have. I mean, I know where my kid's at all times through apps. Why can't we use that to our advantage to understand where the traffickers are doing, where they're moving, how they're moving? Right. Now, I understand it goes into a lot of privacy issues or whatever, but I mean, if you've been convicted 3 times of trafficking minors, should you have privacy at that moment? So, in my utopia world, I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to take away certain rights, but
I don't think you get rights if you
I was like, I don't know. We'd have to
mess with other people's lives.
Yeah, I think we'd have to revisit that. But I think we could use it to our great advantage. I mean, from monitoring to facial recognition to image recognition to tracking to building our own platforms, and then building platforms where we can educate kids. Use it. Okay, so use what they're doing to advertise for kids. Okay, let's build off of that to educate the kids what they're trying to trap them into. So I think if we can get ahead of the game, I think we can pull it to our advantage to works against theirs.
Yeah, good plan. And I think the kids that are like, at least my daughter and just kids around her, they're very aware, and I think if they understand what trafficking is and what some of these just very basic right violations mean, the way in which they get fired up, and just what I'm excited to see what they do once they realize just the scope of our situation.
Oh yes, and kids are very resilient, and kids are very smart when it comes to technology, because kids nowadays, this is what they've grown up on. Not me. I'm so glad that when I was in college, there was no cameras or phones.
Right. So much that's not been documented.
Those are things that didn't need to be documented. I'm okay with that. So, but that's what kids grew up on. What they do school on. That's what they've done everything on. I mean, so being able to use what they do every day and making platforms to educate them that much, make them that much more aware on something that they will use. I mean, I think it can work for us tenfold. Yeah,
and then what they can create.
And then once
they're able to actually take the technology and make the technology, they design it.
Yeah,
that's what I like.
And in my utopia world, I would have the input of kids, because they're the ones that are on it.
Exactly.
So what are they looking for? What do they think is in? What do they think is out? Because I mean, my kids don't even listen to my music. They're like, "Mom, that's so old." I mean, so how do we capture that audience?
Yeah.
So I think we can use it. Technology, yes, it has grown, and yes, there could be some issues when it comes to privacy, but we can use it to our advantage, especially in combating trafficking.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do it. What steps can listeners take to support your mission? And then just any last words that you have for anybody.
Steps that they can take is, reaching out if they can volunteer with organizations that work with trafficking, whether it's painting a bench or helping them, with the rooms, or volunteering their time, or educating someone in their church, or educating in their school, coming to the clinic. They can come to the clinic, volunteer at the clinic, or, you know, donations. Donations are always accepted at the clinic, you know. I mean, it can be $1 to $100. It doesn't matter. Everything counts. Everything helps when it comes to helping such an oppressed population. So I think they would need to take the first steps into saying, oh, what can I do? You know, if you're good at technology, okay, like, let's connect you with an organization that works within the technology within this realm, you know. If you'd like to volunteer and you'd like to work with people, you know, let's do that, you know. The landing does great with volunteers, you know. Different organizations that work with trafficking, they all have volunteers, because unfortunately we're all nonprofit.
I mean, the clinic is run by
clinic.
The doctors are volunteers.
All our doctors are volunteers, you know. If we have any nurses or medical assistants that want to give their time, you know, they're more than welcome. You know, San Jose Clinic would love to have you, you know. Anything that'll help, you know, combat such a huge problem. I mean, we need to come collectively as a community. It takes a village, you know. It can't just be us, and it can't just be a few agencies getting together, you know. I mean, Houston is such a huge population. What are we, like 4 million?
I think so.
It takes a village, you know, and anything that anybody can do, if it comes to volunteering, if it comes to donating, please, you know, do what you can. Speak with your church, speak with your school, spread the awareness, you know, inform your friends, you know, be smart, you know. Look into the topic if you're, you know, interested in it, or if you don't even understand, or if this is the first time you've heard of trafficking, you know, make yourself aware. But please don't just sit there, because you'll just help dismiss the problem at hand.
What's that quote that evil can only, like, it only keeps going because good men choose to do nothing. There's a quote like that. So it's just, the inaction, right? Like, you might think, you might feel bad, but you're right. Where we're going and what this requires is everybody awake, like everybody looking out for each other, everybody like being aware of what trafficking can look like, how do we really like make sure that it doesn't happen? Yes. Yeah. Well, let's finish there, because we can keep talking forever. But thank you so much for joining me, Lucresia. This has been wonderful, and it's such a great way to end the month. So again, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for listening, whether you're on All Real Radio or on LinkedIn. We lost our Instagram feed, but shout out to LinkedIn if you're still listening. This has been our 21st episode of Imagine That, the Art of Healing, First Steps for Survivors. Shout out to All Real Radio, where we record. On our next episode, we'll chat with Landy Spearman as we begin Black History Month. And so next month, we're actually going to interview Drew as well from All Real Radio as we discuss Black history. The second song that we'll end with, Keep Your Head Up by Tupac.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the song.
I think Tupac has always been kind of like an inspiration in my morning music to kind of keep me moving. Yes, his lyrics have always like played out and laid a story. I know some people may think it's harsh, but it's our reality, and it helps remind me of that reality that I face every day as I go into work. So it gives me that ambition to keep on moving forward and to keep pushing, even though if it's just one. Even though if I just say just one, I'll be okay.
Well, keep your head up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You may say that I'm a dreamer, oh no, but I'm not the only one. Oh, I hope someday